your parents be a mentor?
So if you have negative or positive people around you in a which way, things will naturally rub off, good, bad, or indifferent. I don't think mentoring has an age to it, really. I know we're talking about just young people, but I think mentoring, I don't know why it's just a young person thing.
I speak from the child's perspective because I think obviously they're the most vulnerable.
If I was an older person, what characteristics would I want in an individual to mentor my young person? And if I was a child, through child's eyes, equally, what would I be looking for?
Cool.
Okay, should we get rocking and rolling?
Yes, sir.
Let's get rocking and rolling.
Well, good evening, gentlemen. Let's be honest.
Good evening.
We're talking about mentoring today, and that is a topic that I am very, very akin to because I've done a lot of mentoring in my time, and I've been mentored as well. And it's a very important subject, I believe, because there's a wise old saying, or there is a saying from Solomon who says, "The heart of a boy is foolish from his youth upwards." And that statement sits with me because it doesn't say when that youth ends. He doesn't give a date. He doesn't say the heart of a boy is foolish until he's 25. It just says the heart of a boy is foolish. So for me, mentoring is really important because we need to ensure that our young men are becoming such a man and not allowing their hearts to be too much of a boy for too long, because that could have implications later on in life. So I think the leading question that I'm going to go with, though, is from the ending discussion that we had with Anthony last week. And that was about, can your parents be a mentor? So, gentlemen, can your parents be a mentor? Who wants to?
Do you mind if I take this one on Mike first? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think they have an option. I think they are a mentor. Mentoring itself doesn't mean good or bad. It doesn't mean wise or unwise. It doesn't mean that they're going to be full of wisdom. So whether parents want to be or not, whoever the children are around the most are going to become mentors. So we need to be so wary, so careful of the language you use. For example, if my child is sitting in his high chair, if you like, and me and you, and Winston, us three are sitting there having a conversation, and we're talking in a slack way. We're talking in a kind of a boisterous way, if you like, for want of a better term. Whether we like it or not, that infant is hearing that. That will be going in. They will be taking that on. So that's a mentor. Not a good one, but that is somebody who the child is going to listen to, they're going to hear, they're going to take on. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I don't think parents have a choice. I think they are. From the moment that that child is born and around them, you're mentoring that child. So mentor them well. That's my take on the answer to that question.
I agree. Yeah. What do you say? What do you think?
No, I agree. I mean, initially I thought not, but I think simply by default, you are a product of your environment by default. So if you have negative or positive people around you in a which way, things will naturally rub off, good, bad, or indifferent. But I don't know if we're going to, move away. Parents to one thing, I don't think mentoring has an age to it, really. I know we're talking about just young people, but I think mentoring, I don't know why it's just a young person thing, because, I think you could be mentored at any age, from birth right up to whatever age, because, we're always constantly learning. We're always constantly, some of us are aspiring to be something. So if I want to achieve something or I want to be like somebody, why does it? It's not. Do you know what I mean? It's not just when I'm a baby or I'm an infant. That's throughout my journey in life. But I think foundationally, I agree with you though. Foundationally, your early influences by default would be the people that are around you, and if we're talking about human beings, it would be your parents. So
Yeah.
I've got it about it in a slightly long way, but I do agree with that. I do agree with you, Nicky.
No, I don't think you've gone about it a long way at all. I think it's perfect,
Yeah.
really. Just following on from what both of you have said, I think there's evidence to state that a child learns its personality is developed within like its first 5 years. So the people that child is gonna be around is fundamentally going to be their parents, isn't it? Really, and their family, like what Nick said. So by default, like you said, Mike, we are going to follow what's around us in terms of our family and our parents. So by default, we are being mentored regardless.
But but this subject, are we talking about it just for young people? Are we just talking about mentoring?
Not at all. Well, bearing in mind we've got like 4 different discussions on this. So let's start with our the younger generation, and then we can develop into adulthood.
Okay.
Because there's no doubt that I've been mentored as an adult, especially with regards to work and stuff. And as a teenager as well. So I speak from the child's perspective because I think obviously they're the most vulnerable, and we would love to have children within our community that are a reflection of what we regard as our community, what our community is all about, and that is the case at the present moment. And personally speaking, I don't think things are great. Living in London, some of the reflections that I see is not great. That doesn't say it's a good or a bad thing, but just my own personal opinion. I don't think it's great. So my thing is, what do you think most young people's role models are? What type of people do you think our younger generation are kind of developing relationships with and being mentored by? What type of people would you think that they are kind of being mentored by at the present moment? Let's take the parents to one side, because we know by default that parents are mentors.
Go for it, Inch. It looks like you want to say something.
No. I was just kind of thinking, if you're looking, are we saying if I'm a child and I want to find my own mentor, or if I'm a parent or a guardian or a mature person looking to assign a mentor to a younger person? Because I think they're kind of 2 different questions. Because if I was an older person, what characteristics would I want in an individual to mentor my young person? And if I was a child, through child's eyes, equally, what would I be looking for? And I think it's quite wide, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is, isn't it? If I'm a child, what am I into? What are my influences? Who's around me?
Yeah. So the question is, from your experience and what you understand, let's say, let's give it for a number out there. Say out of 100% of young people under the age of, let's say, I'm going to say under the age of 12. Who would you say that they're mostly influenced by?
Well, I think times have changed, really, to be honest, and with the introduction of social media. I think, again, I'm not deflecting, but it's quite a broad subject. So that we're making instant overnight stars by a touch of a button, really. So you've got YouTube influencers, you've got rock stars, you've got pop stars, you've got sports stars. So, and no, I'm not deflecting, but it is really what their influences are, really, and what they want to aspire to. So it's a difficult one. Do you know what I mean? If you're, because I think it's a good, bad, or indifferent, because there are negative mentors, aren't there, or negative role models.
Absolutely.
So so it's a difficult question to answer. Do you know what I mean? But if I was a parent, however, I could only ask what characteristics I would want for my child. Do you know what I mean? But if I was a child, what am I into? What are my influences? Who am I around? What are my circles? What have I been subjected to? Potentially that could drive pique my interest to kind of start looking at that type of influence on digital channels or otherwise, really. So it's a difficult one.
Sure.
Because there is a lot out there now, isn't there?
Very much so. I mean,
Yeah.
the amount of mentors that you could potentially have are vast. So yeah,
Absolutely. You know, and depending on what one, you know, one's thought process or one's interest or what one has been not subjected to, but one's influence, what has one been influenced by, that might equal who the mentors potentially could be.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Nick, what's your opinion?
I think I'm really fearful for our young people. If we're sticking with young people for the minute, I'm really fearful for them, because you're going to get, say for example, one of the famous ones out there, I suppose, is this Tate guy that's out there. Now, there's some of the stuff that he says that I think is hilarious. He's very, very clever. He's a very clever human being with his wording. He openly says that he words things in certain ways to cause kind of controversy, for example. So unfortunately, whoever is flavor of the moment can easily become, well, they call them influencers, right? As you said, Mike.
Yeah.
Now that's what you want from a mentor. You want a mentor to influence our young people. That's what we're after. Influence them in a positive way. However, a lot of these people out there running with their drawers on and doing all kind of madness to earn a few quid. Now, again, this isn't me judging people that earn their money however they earn their money. I'm not saying that. But if you're going to have an influence on my young people, then I do have a dog in that fight. Because that's us. As corny and as cheesy as it sounds, that thing about our children are our future is not a nonsense statement. It's such a factual statement. So for me, social media is a big influence. When was the last time I walked past and I see a young person with a book in their hand, that they're reading a book, that they're taking in knowledge in that way? You know, since the TV has become the babysitter, since the internet has become the babysitter, it's scary. I'm scared for our young people.
Yeah.
So that's
So when you so you know, a young person under 12.
Yeah.
In terms of life experience.
Yeah.
Do they have enough experience to pick their own mentor then?
They won't have a.
I think just throwing. Yeah, I do. I agree. I think they do. I think they do have their faculties about them to make those kind of decisions. I think I did. Independently, I had role models at 7, 8 years old. I created my own. I found my own role models after my parents easily.
Good, bad, good, bad. I'm saying good, bad, or indifferent.
Good, bad, or indifferent. Fortunately, I don't think any of my role models were, potentially, harmful.
No, not you. Yeah. Not you. Yeah.
When I was younger, no. I mean, in general, it doesn't have to be just about a me thing, but I think that you do develop these role models from a young age, and I can say for myself, even at 7, 8 years old, I had found role models that I wanted to follow. I think you guys know some of them. So, at least one. Pele was one of them. I wanted to be like Pele as a youngster. So, that was a heavy influence on me. So that got me into playing football at a young age. Again, Michael Jackson was another person that was very much an influence on me, and a mentor, because I was actively searching for mentors. I was as a youngster. Outside of the home. So my environment then kind of shaped who I was looking for and my culture as mentors, because I saw the people that I thought that I could be influenced by, or I wanted to be influenced by, because of certain behaviors that other people had shown. Let's say, for instance, my family loved Michael Jackson. That became a mentor to me, because I thought, they're older than me, they like him, so I should like him as well. I don't know if you have those kind of experiences, but I developed those kind of experiences as I was growing up. So good, bad, or indifferent, we will develop them. We will develop mentors.
No, I know that, but my point is, if it's bad, it's really bad, really, really bad.
Absolutely.
And my thing is, I'm saying that's why I think that's why I posed the question: should we leave an under 12 to be able to assign and pick their own mentor, particularly when it goes bad?
Well, I don't think you have an option, unless you
bad, it can go really bad. Yeah.
Sure. Unless you've already put boundaries around that child is then free to think and do what that child wants to do. So
yeah,
I was free to think, to be quite honest with you. There wasn't really that many boundaries to stop me from finding mentors or people that I could, that I could. The idolizing is not the word that I'd use, but look up to, so to speak. So I found them within the celebrity world. I found them within my local community, and I found them within my family. I don't know if you guys would feel the same about that, but that's how I developed as a child.
I'm going to give my. Allow me to. Sorry, no, go on. Go on. No, you go.
No. What I was going to say, I think they've got cognitive ability to pick a mentor, but I believe that there needs to be some, if you like, engagement with an appropriate, particularly those young people under the age of 12, because I don't know, whether we've got to be very careful because things can spiral out of control really very quickly. And if the incorrect mentor has been picked and assigned, once the train has left the platform, it's very difficult to get it back.
That's why I led with the heart of a boy is foolish from his youth upwards. Those words of Solomon. So, with that being said, it's really important, and I think it's key to ensure that there is appropriate mentors within community, within your local area, and they are seen to be appropriate and revered as being appropriate mentors. But that could be done by design, or it's done by design, regardless. If you understand what I'm saying. So what I'm trying to say is, it happens anyway. Because if we don't do it, the media will do it. If we don't do it, Hollywood will do it. If we don't do it, somebody else will. Because everybody's after that dollar at the end of the day. So they will influence your children regardless, and my children, and everybody's children.
Absolutely.
So it's happening.
So do we allow us an under 12 to assign their own mentor? That's the point I'm trying to make. Because somebody else will do it. If we don't have that engagement and we don't police it, if you like, and we don't have somebody who, in terms of those checks and balances, and whether that person is revered and is appropriate.
Mike, I'm going to. Sorry, I've got to interject here. I knew you would. I hear what you're saying, Mike. I hear what you're saying, and I don't disagree. However, there's a fundamental problem, or can be a fundamental problem, even with what you're suggesting. And when you're saying that an appropriate, first of all, what is appropriate here? True. That's one, and two is who's choosing the mentor? Who's choosing the mentor for that child? Yeah. So there's a whole world of stuff here. So where Winston was saying that he had Pele and Michael Jackson and those guys there, I get it. Now,
I get that.
There will be the child will pick someone. So if I go back to my childhood, the person that I picked as my mentor, because when I was young, he's funny, he's hilarious, he does his own thing, he's just ramshackled and nobody ain't holding him back from doing what he wants to do. Now as an older man, what the funk was I doing as that was my elder? That was my mentor? Are you kidding me? But he was exciting. He was this, he was that, the whole 9 yards. But the geezer was a mess. So it goes back to that. The unwise choices. But my bit now is, you're saying that we should have some guards in, some kind of guidelines for the young person and who we choose. Well, are those guidelines coming from me, you, and Winston? And are they okay?
I don't know what the answer is there, but I'm not particularly comfortable with somebody under the age of 12 picking some. I'm not going to give a name that we might not be comfortable with. So where is the scrutiny? There has to be something.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
How do you define appropriate, and who decides who's appropriate? There is a conversation to be had there.
Absolutely.
But I'm not quite sure whether an under 12.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I agree. I agree with you in the sense that an under 12 might not be able to pick the right one. Thankfully, with Winston picking Pele, a great role model.
Happy days.
Yeah,
happy days.
But now here's the bit. He's a great role model in football. I get that. I don't know his existence outside of football, but I will say as a footballer, what a mentor to look up to. Great. As an entertainer, Jackson. You're not getting bigger than Jackson. You're not getting more entertaining than Jackson. What he was doing outside of that existence. So now, if I want to pick somebody to be a mentor for a young person when it comes to finances, I'm going to pick one person. If it comes to moral compass, it's going to be a different person. If it comes to spirituality, it's going to be a different person. Do you get what I mean? I don't know if anyone is that. There's a whole package.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. Sorry.
Which leads into kind of how is that done then for a young person? Is it a thing of teaching them to be to make wise decisions? Is it a thing about kind of like you said, I think it's a couple of weeks ago, Nick, you said about teaching them to think.
Teaching them how to
Teaching
think.
people to think. How to think.
Yeah, that's
I
it for
think
me.
As an older person, because we're not young and we profess to be, we're at uncle age now, so we're about that life, about being mentors. That's the part of what we do. So it's teaching them to think and make good choices. It's not about putting guide, because they might want to be bad. I know a lot of kids that want to be bad. That's their goal. Mm-hmm. You better believe it. I'm from South London. I know a lot of bad kids. You know what I mean? Is it their choice? I don't know, but they chose right now. I mean, is it their ingrained choice, or is it their personal choice? I don't know. But they choose to be bad. That's what they want. That's what they like. Not everyone. I would say a good out of 100% of the children or youth that I've met under the age of 12, 13, maybe about 25% have chosen to want to be bad.
Yeah.
They've chosen that life.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's ingrained. I don't know if it's DNA, or I don't know if it's just unfortunate circumstances. I don't know.
Well, you're talking on nature nurture there, which nobody knows the answer to. That's a nature nurture question.
Absolutely. What I would say is my personal experience of working with young people outside of my 9 to 5. I've done a lot of youth work. I've seen the results of being a decent human being and acting in the right ways, communicating to people with respect, even though they're younger than me. How that has bear fruits later on in life. I'll give you an example. I used to work with, I'm cautious of time as well because it's already flying by. I worked with youngsters from the ages of 14 up to 16. And I used to coach football, and I used to run a youth center on a Monday and a Friday. Now, I did this to my best ability, and I tried to be as best as I possibly can as a person, as a human being, teaching and leading by example. Most important. Now, those youngsters that I used to work with, one of them in particular, I spoke to him probably about 2 years ago, Turkish guy. He said to me, he was 25 at the time. He said to me, Winston, thank you for everything that you've done for me. You are my second dad.
Oh, wow.
What an amazing thing for someone to say to me. It wells me up when I think about it right now. So it just goes to show, being a decent human being, not trying to be, all-encompassing, but just understanding, creating events for young people to do, getting them involved, building character, You know, the times when they're falling over and hurting themselves. Look, you know, come on, let's get back up again. Let's get back into the game. Those things have impacted on some of the young people that I've worked with. In fact, all of them. They don't really have any. They all have a high level of respect for me, and I'm talking about probably about 20 kids, 20 young men and women now. But this particular one, having that to say to me, you know, it encourages me to continue doing this type of thing. Being a mentor is really important, and it does bear fruit when you do it in the right way. And I know Nick, and I know Mike, you've had mentors as youngsters as well. I definitely know that you have, Nick, because I remember when Barry used to kind of come up to us and you know, show us, you know, to tell us, you know, keep on the football thing, keep off the road stuff, da 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 da. That was so much needed. Those little conversations that we had, and even though it wasn't going,
no, I think you're right. You know, when we look for a mentor, we don't have to. You know, I think sometimes we get a bit kind of not starstruck. We think they need to be this, they need to be that, or some sort of action hero. I think you're right. We just need to be consistent, and we need to lead by example. Do you know what I mean? And we need to show up. Do you know what I mean? And those kind of attributes that or those characteristics that you just spoke about there, you know, about being polite, being respectful. Do you know what I mean? You know, timekeeping, all those mandatory things. Do you know what I mean? If we display those behaviours ourselves, they do rub off. Do you know what I mean? And I think because you are, you know, going back to what we said, you know, human beings or young people, babies or whatever, are products of their environment.
Yes.
So for me, those things that you displayed there, when that young person won't forget that, you know. No. Those are foundational skills that you've taught.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think genuinely that, you know, we all have mentors as we grow up. It's just, do we choose to follow what they have to say? And like I said, I've experienced people coming into my life, whether it be through sports or through school or whatever, and I've had that encouragement. Was I listening? Sometimes I wasn't, but later on it kicked in. It made me think, okay, I remember when that person said that I should be wary of doing these types of things, and this is what happens. Okay, cool. Whether it could be an uncle, it could be a family member, it could be anyone.
It doesn't have to be Pele, does it?
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
It doesn't have to be Steven Gerrard, does it?
Yeah, well, you know, those kind of mentors you need in your life, you know, because they're game changers. Especially Steven Gerrard. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. No, just awesome.
So what do you say, Nick? Come on, you've been a bit quiet here.
I have been quiet because I'm really trying to consider my words here, because we're talking about young people, and as us three have spoken about off camera, I really give a shit about these young people. I really care about these young people.
I think we do. We genuinely do.
Now, for me, my bit here is they are going to have mentors. They are going to choose mentors. Now, when I look at, and I could get criticised for saying this, when I look at some of the young people themselves having babies, are they ready to kind of say, these need to be your mentors? Are they ready to do that themselves? Some are, some aren't. This is such a kind of a lottery of what's out there. So when we're saying about our environment, if I follow the environment that I was raised in, I should be inside right now. Let's be honest about it.
That's true.
Yeah. So if I follow my environment, so I'm not conceding to the fact of it just is all to do with your environment, because there's too many stories out there. There's too many real life cases out there where people. One of Winston's mentors is Pele. Let's go and have a look to his upbringing and see if he should have been where he should have been. And he transcends football, by the way. My man stopped wars in Africa so people could watch him. Now let's go back to his environment of his growing up. Do you get what I mean? He didn't follow what should have happened here.
Absolutely.
He's outshone that beyond. And and I'm gonna say, Win, if you don't mind me saying, I think it's the same for you and I. That the way that we're trying to conduct ourselves is definitely to do with family have played a part in that. Definitely our people around us have played a part in that. But we could have turned left or right.
Mm.
100%, 100%. I don't know what it is that stopped me from going down the bad route, because it was just the roads are so
It was
parallel.
me. I stopped you.
You probably did. You probably did to a certain degree.
When
I don't think you did, actually.
I'm gonna say this
Yeah,
before,
you got me into so many situations trying to defend him against some of these
before
off-key
we
people.
end this. Before we end today's
I
one,
should have been.
the
I
one
should
I'm
have been
gonna,
a bad
the
man.
one thing I'm gonna say, Win, is, and I'm glad that Inch raised it about to do with age, because the reality is you've played a part in being a mentor for me. I'm gonna be arrogant here.
Yeah.
I know I've played
Yeah.
a part in being a mentor for you in other aspects.
100%.
I know
Yeah.
that we have.
And
Do you-
vice versa with Michael as well. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You know, so those things for me are just, but yeah, like we said, we give it about our babies. You know,
Yeah, definitely, and I think you're great. I mean, this is gonna be a very good topic to talk about, because I can talk about it all day long as well.
Yeah.
And I think you made a good point a minute ago about, young people having children and not realizing that they're gonna be a mentor, and because they don't even get it
Absolutely.
themselves.
Yeah.
They don't even get it themselves. So it's really important that there is people out there. I'm gonna say, like myself, like you guys, to be there. Not just to pick up the pieces, but to have the discussion like we're having right now about what it means and what a good mentor looks like, and how to kind of find find them, because they are a gem, a dime, they're not a dime a dozen. They are in the community, though. I do know that there's some good people out there. There's a lot of youth workers out there that are doing a fantastic work, man, and trying to, bring up these youngsters as best as they possibly can, even though maybe their parents are not doing a great job. And I'm not saying it's all about, young parents not doing a good job. I know a lot of good young parents that are doing a fantastic job to their best ability.
And just to say, I was one of those young parents. I had my son when I was young. So I'm not criticizing people and saying, you had a child when you're young, so therefore you're rubbish. Absolutely not. That would be a nonsense statement. What I'm saying is once you get to that part, it goes back to the friendship thing. It goes back to the conversations that we've had about therapy. If you can genuinely be honest with yourself and be that real person, like you said, when that you was with the younger guy, if you can genuinely be honest, you know what? I haven't got all the answers here. You know what?
No.
I've got so much learning to do here. Okay, so who can I go to? So because I never had a father when I was growing up, I remember I had a conversation with my son when he was young, and I said to him, I'm doing the best I can do. But if you think we got to do this together, the boundaries I'm setting them. I'm dad. The respect comes here, but also the respect goes there. But we can have that conversation if you think I'm screwing this up.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? Let's work together on this, because I want the best for you. Not pressure on him, because he knew the pressure was on me to do the job right. But when I never had that role model myself, I was blagging it big time. I had to just do the best I could do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we're still blagging it now.
100%.
We're in our 50s. We're still learning.
Absolutely.
100%. 100%.
I take my hat off to the youngsters that are trying to be parents. But be educated as a youngster. Even though you're a young parent, be educated about it. Be looking at it as a thing that I'm still young in doing it, and I need to learn. I need to be more studious. I need to come out of this game with A pluses. It's not about getting. You can't afford to get poor grades on this thing.
No.
When it comes to being a mentor to a child, because it's a great responsibility.
I've got to say, the next podcast I'm really looking forward to. I'm aware of time, Mike. So I'm just saying, I'm really looking forward to the next one, because Mike raised something earlier, which is how do we choose? What do we look for in a mentor? That is going to be. You can tell that I think this is the most animated all three of us have been on any subject that we've spoken about so far, because we give it about our young people. But also, Mike, as you said, if I'm going to go into a particular field, a particular area, you're effing right, I'm going to go and find a mentor to take me down that road. Absolutely. Because if I haven't got a clue about it, then of course I want a decent mentor.
Yeah. Say like off-key stuff have gone on in my environment that
Yeah.
I've been brought up in.
Yeah.
Obviously, I can go left and I can go right.
Yeah.
So the environment does have a factor in that, doesn't it?
It will always have a factor, but again, I can cut this out. But let's say, for example, the abuse I took as a child. So that was 6 years of my life. Yeah. Okay. So now I should do what? I should hurt people because I was abused.
No.
No, that's what I'm saying.
not.
So I'm more adamant. So you're right, Mike. You're right in what you're saying, in the sense that I'm now more adamant that I'm more adamant than anybody I know that I will never harm another human being. Because of that negative stuff that I experienced, I'm so almost steroid infused about not making sure that I or anyone around me is not hurting other people. So it definitely plays a part, but it's whether you decide you're going to use it as fuel. Me and Winston have spoken about this for years. Whether I'm going to use this as fuel to kind of do what's right for people, or other people will use it as, and I'm going to say it, other people will use it as an excuse. Oh well, it's out. You know what I mean? I watch my mum get beaten, so of course I punch my missus. What? What a load of nonsense is this? It's excuses. It's excuses. Sorry, I know it's a rant.
But it's just following on. It's about making choices and having the skill to make the right choices. And fortunately, I think that we've managed to be skillful enough to make the right choices. How? That's a different question. I'm not 100% sure how. If it's something that
we've done skillful, or does luck come into it as well?
Say it again.
Skillful and lucky?
Oh, I suppose you can be lucky. It depends what you call luck. I think you mean more like being
coming in, meeting the right people at the right times.
This is
absolutely.
I think being aware that you're being taught a lesson is really important, and it's the conscientious. Even as a youngster, I was still conscientious. I still thought about things. I made my mistakes, then I thought to myself, okay, am I going to make that same mistake again? I didn't like the feeling of that mistake. Do I want to do that again? Not necessarily. So a mentor would come into my life, whether it be a family member or a friend, and they would say to me, well, Winston, that was a bit of a silly move. Why did you do that? Here's a better way of doing it. So I can then now make a positive choice of how to do things. But some people, unfortunately, are stupid. And they make stupid decisions. Because they're stupid. And I'm not being disrespectful, but you wouldn't have the word stupid if people weren't stupid, all right? So that's where we got to kind of protect those people that
you wouldn't have the word stupid if people weren't stupid.
Listen, bro, I've met so many people in my time. I just have to give up and just say, like, you're stupid, bro. You're just not gonna get
Wayne, can I just really quickly, I'm going to jump in here. You said you don't know how we've made certain choices, and I'm going to say to you, I've got an idea, and it may sound, I like sometimes when you say this, like, do we romanticize things? And I've heard you say that a few times about things. The one that maybe I ever romanticized it, I don't know, but I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think I have. If I think back to yourself, Win, to Kay, to Mikey, if I think back to the upbringing of growing up with you guys, that was I'm talking a massive 80% of the reason why I didn't turn left, because we ridiculed people that turned left. We cussed them. Are you going to go and do this and going like you're a bad man? Okay, cool. And we would ridicule the crap out of them. So that kind of encouraged me. I don't want to get cursed for this. I'm not walking down the road as if I've got a stone in one shoe and talking like I'm 6'3" and puffing my chest out, talking all this. I'm not doing all of that, because I know that you guys are going to curse the crap out of me for that, and rightly so. That helped. It massively helped.
It didn't help some people, though, did it, really?
No, we know that.
No, not everybody.
Not all of us.
It took a lot longer to get it, man. That's why I go back to what Solomon said. the heart of a boy is foolish from his youth upwards. It did not give a cut-off time. So when does the wisdom come in? It gets learned at some point. And that's hopefully by, having positive mentors. So just before we wrap up, I'm just going to ask you one quick question. Brace yourselves. I want you to take... We all kind of really grew up with our mums, didn't we? Really, we didn't really grow up with our dads as a major figure in our lives. They're probably there and thereabout, but not like our mothers. What quality would you say that you would take as a mentor, kind of mentorship from your mothers?
Go for it, Inch.
I'd say, well, two things really. I'd say, well, consistency is one. My mum was very, very consistent with us. Probably a little bit too much, so I would say. Very, very consistent. And the ability to make something from nothing. Do you know what I mean? The ability to make something from nothing. So even in the most terrible or the most horrible situation, my mum was somehow able to come up with some sort of solution.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Man. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Big up, mum.
Nick?
Somehow. I don't know how, but yeah.
Big up the mums, man. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Nick, what you saying?
I think for me, you know that expression about rich and poor and stuff? Well, in my household, we didn't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. We was poor as poor. However, when it comes to...
church most, that's what mum would say.
But when it comes to emotional wealth, I become a billionaire because of my mum. From very young, if I was feeling a certain way, if I came home upset and my mum could see it, there was nothing I couldn't talk to her about. And my mum would hear me and not ridicule me, not kind of do any kind of negative stuff. It was kind of, if that's how you're feeling, okay, what are we gonna do with that? How are you gonna work through that? And my mum was so accepting of that stuff. So the teaching I got off of her from that, massive. So a billionaire when it comes to emotional.
That's massive. That's massive.
Yeah, that's the number one. Of course, we could talk for hours about what we got from mums, right? Of course we could.
We're just trying to take one thing.
Just that one is.
Yeah.
I'm emotionally a billionaire because of mum.
I think for me, it's will, strong will. My mum had an impressively strong will to just continue on and fight through the difficulties in life. She had an amazing will, and I think that I've developed that as well. So, like you said, guys, big up the mums, and thanks for being great mentors.
That's a big
Might not have been perfect, but they did the best that they possibly could. So yeah, big them up for that and salute them. You understand? 100%. On that note, we'll wrap up.
Peace and love, beautiful people.
Peace and love.
One love.